This is an SM Media production. Hi everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Horse Racing Show right here on SM Media. I'm Scott McPike, delighted to be your host as always. Joined as always by, from the Scottish Daily Mail, Calum McClurkin. Calum, how are we?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
I'm all good, thank you. We will make a wee start. We'll get started on it quite quickly. We will recap what happened over the last week. Obviously, we had the Grand National meeting. Unbelievable story about Rachael Blackmore winning on Manila Times. Just a great story, great race. Just how good is it for Rachael Blackmore to be the first female to win the Grand National?
Yeah, an amazing story. Racing said it's PR problems recently, hasn't it? And this was a story that kind of put them in the back pages and even the front pages for good reasons. I think everyone in the racing knows how good Rachael Blackmore is. The biggest compliment I could pay her is that gender doesn't even come into my thinking when studying the form of races when she's on board. That's for sure. She showed her class at Cheltenham, but even as a £3 claimer, I remember picking up these regional Irish nationals quite easily as well, and showing her class there 3-4 years ago. So it's no surprise to me. It might be a surprise to other people, but no, she's certainly first class on merit.
Absolutely. Just couldn't speak highly enough about Rachael Blackmore. What did you think about the race? Were you surprised at how it went? Like lights a cloth cap going out, and what was your kind of thoughts on it? Your overall takeaways for the Grand National?
Not really. I did think that it would probably go to one of the front four in the market. The Irish trio of the winner Manila Times, Any Second Now in third, Borough Saint in fourth. They did kind of look destined to hit the frame in a way that seemed to pan out that way, and they were all quite prominent from the off. I mean, Any Second Now was quite unlucky. He was badly hampered at the 12th. In cloth cap, he just jumped a bit exuberantly, like he did at Newbury and Kelso. It's quite it's an asset to have, but you do need to conserve energy, and he was gargling about 3 or 4 out, so he probably just had a minor wind issue, but it went to the well fancied horses in the end.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go on to the other kind of horses that impressed us over the Grand National meeting. We'll start off with Thursday, where we had a Sir Alex Ferguson treble, which we've not seen for a while. It was really good. It was a really good first day of racing. What was your takeaways from the opening day of the Aintree Festival?
Yeah, I think Monmoral was quite impressive. And I think he confirmed the suspicion that he's probably the best British juvenile around this season. He was very good. I thought he was probably the best. Protectorate coming back to form was a plus over a slightly better trip. I think that kind of suits him. He had a window that what the oracle for him. He showed quite good earlier back form at the start of the season, but that was around Cheltenham, so freshen him up, worked well for the Skeltons. And Cheek Pieces made a lot of difference to Clandy Obo's finishing effort. Don't think it was the strongest race in the world. It rather fell apart in behind, but it certainly revitalises him. And I mean, Kempton's his that Kempton Aintree, flat tracks can bully them a lot, and it certainly puts him back into a King George picture for where he was third last year, and he's already won that twice.
Definitely. Your beloved Abacadabra's also picked up a bit today as well. What did you think of that? Be surprised how well I handled the trip?
He did. He handled it because there was a loose horse that helped him drag him over the line. I think he was just the classiest horse in the race, but he did whack a couple towards the last. I mean, he barely left the ground over the second last and the last. It did show that he has a lot of class, but he has taken the odd liberty. His hurdles, he got away with Aintree. Unfortunately for me, he didn't get away with it at Cheltenham.
No. As well as that, we'll move on to the Friday. We had a couple of really kind of good results. Belfast Banter, who obviously won the county hurdle at Cheltenham, justified his promise with a really good win and a grade 1 with the likes of Dussart was in it. Chantry House also picked up a good win. Fakir Duderie was my highlight of day 2. And Ahoy Senior won the Sefton, beating Brave Man's Game, who just never really looked. We thought in the Tolworth this horse could be a really, really good horse, but he's not shown. Charlo, sorry, it was Charlo one, wasn't it? What was your takeaways for day two? With obviously Chantry House, Fakadu Dee. Was there any kind of big takeaways for you?
Yeah, I thought Flacky put in the best performance. I think to have race in the Ryanair, I think anything in the Ryanair would have been entitled to kind of be second best next time around as well. There's a lot of seconds to his name, but this time he kind of picked up, did quite well, won it properly, even though it wasn't as good a race as the Ryanair. The Melling, Chantry House was quite good as well. Shane Meshbar fell second last, going quite well. There might have been an interesting fight on his hands, but he does have a bit of class, and the step up to 3 miles worked quite well. He's another King George type. He'd be one to look forward to next season. I know the clash with Envoy Allen didn't quite materialise at Cheltenham the way it should have, but he does have a lot of potential. Third in the Supreme, there's a lot to like about him. I thought Dussart shaped quite well with promise.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was good. Yeah,
he did look a bit flabby in the paddock, as if he'd been off for a while. But he was brave after a nasty schooling incident. You know, he could have been entitled to ease him in and maybe pull him up, show promise for most of the way instead of all the way. You know, he was bustled along as if it was a bit sharp enough for him. Maybe something like the Marsh next year over fences could help. He might need a bit of a trip, maybe 2.5 miles. But I mean, there's quite a lot to like. A Hoist Senior for the Scots was quite something for Lucinda Russell.
Definitely.
They might have another talented staying project in their hands as well. And rumours that it might go over the Punchestown. So
what about Braidman's game? I know we both thought this was a stay on the making. Was he maybe one race too much for him this year, do we think?
Yeah, I think the Cheltenham Aintree turnaround is quite quick. He did have a hard race. He did try all the way to the line, and he was outpaced by simply a machine in Bob Ollinger. I think you could forgive him. I don't. This was a weaker race, so the step up and trip I think kind of worked. I just think he was tired, and he was keen early doors as well. Tried to hold him up, and he was pressed out wide. And I don't think the track's his bag either. It was maybe a bit sharp for him as well. And the winner did dictate terms. You know,
definitely.
From a stop-start gallop as well, which probably didn't suit him. He'd probably want a sounder pace. So, yeah, I mean, a bit of sheen has gone off his potential for me, but he will be better over fences in 3 miles, and I certainly wouldn't write him off for anything yet. No,
definitely not. We'll move on to Saturday. We saw My Drogo, Shishkin, Time Hill, your beloved Happy Go Lucky as well. It was a really good day for the punters on Saturday.
Oh, every favourite one, didn't they? Till the National, which, I mean, another time was short enough, so you could pick that one out. I thought My Drogo was excellent.
Yeah. What do we think? Straight over fences?
Yeah, definitely switches over fences. I mean, he could be a future Gold Cup horse down the line.
Definitely.
He's not short of pace, but he's a big imposing figure. Once he fills out that frame, you'd think he's a 3 miler.
Definitely.
He's now default favourite for the Brown Advisory Novices Chase next year.
Do you think that's where he'll go, or do you think maybe Marsh to maybe the Envoy Allen route, a shorter trip, and then try it maybe 3 miles after that?
They might. He does have speed though. They've got time to experiment as well.
Yeah, definitely.
He certainly wasn't slow over 2 mile 4 in a sharp track, and that was him stepping up from 2 miles to 2 mile 4 for the first time.
Yeah, I think Shishkin as well.
Really well.
Yeah, definitely. I think Shishkin as well. I think Shishkin was there for a day out. I think you could tell that it was.
He was.
Aye.
Again, I mean, the runner-up did ask a question. I think he probably went too soon enough. They didn't go quick enough early on.
Yeah, I think it was a slow pace,
But again, Cheltenham might have left a smallest of marks on him, but he's certainly a superstar for the future.
Yeah, I'm buzzing for next year.
64 for the champion chase is you can't really argue with it. Even
no, not at all.
Makes a limited punt appeal. I can see why they're running scared of him already.
Yeah, it's just a horse we're going to look forward to next year. A horse I was buzzing about last season, and I've been proven right. Time Hill, unbelievable. Just Roxana. You take Roxana as well. Like, can you imagine? Could Roxana have been a player in the Stairs Hurdle if she went there at Cheltenham?
Well, she'd be 10, wouldn't she? It'd be hard to see.
I mean, like last year, see like this year's obviously. Do you think he would have gave Flooring Porter a race?
No,
Do you not?
I don't think so. No, I don't think she flashed her tail under pressure. She had every chance as well. Last week, I'm not a biggest fan. I think the mayor's allowance helps her a lot.
Yeah.
She was 2 lengths behind at Ascot for Time Hill, and Paisley Partling, you've got a returning Time Hill from injury and still managed to beat her. I think she would have been 3rd or 4th or something like that. She needs to be held up big time to get the trip at Cheltenham, I think.
Yeah. How good was Time Hill?
Sharper track, she's better.
Yeah. How good was Time Hill?
Time Hill was good. It was good recovery. Just trusting him to stay sound enough for long enough.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see where they go next if they keep him over hurdles.
Possibly, yeah.
He hung on quite well this time. I don't think it was a strong race though. I think Flooring Porter would beat them all.
Think so. Right, we'll move on to Happy Go Lucky. How good performance was that?
It was nice to see. A bit worried backing him 2 out. You think he's getting squeezed again, and it's going to like Cheltenham again, and something's going to outstay him. But he didn't. He picked it up. He was behind the bridle for a long way. He races a bit lazily, like all these kind of good stayers do, and 2 out, they'll winged it and then came back on the bridle and powered away quite well. Shaped as if he might get further. Kim Bailey mooted the point that he might be an interesting Grand National project next year.
Possibly, yeah.
And you can see the line into that. A lot of these younger horses are doing better in the Nationals. He'd be 8 years old next year. That would suit him. It's the right age. If he can stay around the low 150 weight, that would be ideal. Whether he copes with the fences, that's probably the only question mark. But
yeah,
I think you'd have a chance. He's probably at 33-1 right now, and if you're inclined to have a long range anti-post bet and interested in monitor it and see what all the trials would be, like you'd probably go to Warwick, you'd probably take in the Beecher, stuff like that. It would be a good bet to have as a pointer for the future. He's the obvious novice to come up from it that might go the Grand National route. Yeah,
definitely. And that was our look at the Grand National. We'll move on to the Scottish equivalent this week, our hometown Grand National. Calum, you must have had some memories going to on the pass for this. I know I have.
Oh, it's been quite a few, yeah. There's been some. Normally I quite like to go the Friday though.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
It's a bit quiet and you have a chance to see the horses sometimes. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Gosby Judge is one that I quite fond of. Vicente when he won it twice. Alco as well was another one that I quite liked back in the day. Yeah, plenty of great horses that have won it.
Yeah. This year we've got 3 big races on the Sunday. We will start off with the Scottish Champion Hurdle. I have a nap in this race, but I will pass the floor to you. What do you fancy in the Scottish Champion Hurdle?
I think the market is it right in between Milkwood and Killycote. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I think one of them will probably win. Killycote's finishing effort in the Dovecote at Kempton behind Cape Gentleman was a bit of a concern. Thought he ducked out of it. He looked better in a lesser race. And Milkwood's been quite unlucky in the County Hurdle, which Belfast Banters won a Grade 1 out of.
No.
I think this flatter track will suit. So I'm really 50-50 between the pair, but looking at what's in behind, Time White will like the track, but again, he's another one that's quite hard to trust and disappoints more often than not. But this test should suit him. Yeah, I think one of the market leaders will take this.
Yeah, I'm all over Calico. I get your theory about the performance in the Dovecote, but I think he's a really nice horse. Trained by the Skeltons, who have a terrific record at this with this horse. Obviously, they won a really good race at Ludlow. They bounced back really well at Warwick just after Cheltenham, where he kept on strongly. Soft ground. I think it's looking like it's going to be good ground on Sunday, so it could be really, really good. I think this could be a good chance for Calico to bounce back. We'll move on to 3 o'clock, which is the Future Champion Novices Chase, and this really does look a good race on paper if these all go. All Mankind 13-8, Tamarok de Mathen 2-1, and Dame de Company 3-1. What do we think?
Again, the market's latched on to the right ones here. I'd be keen to take on All Mankind though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
think
couldn't back All Mankind, but
going up in trip. I don't know. He's probably he is a class act of the race. He's a proven class act of the race, but that Arkle race looked really tough. And Shish could be not bad, but slightly underwhelming. You've got to think if All Mankind's part of that ferocious pace up front. He's going further this time. It gets tricky. I think the fact that Tamarak de Matan was in the first declaration stage for the race at Aintree, but it's turned up here instead is a fairly significant move from Paul Nicholls. I think they believe that this is more winnable, avoiding Shishkin. They'd rather take on All Mankind, and you can understand that, particularly over 2 mile 4.
Yeah.
I think he'd be the one for me.
Yeah, he's the one for me as well. I think his performance in the Pendle was really good. Beat Gallo. I just think he's really, really suited to this track. All Mankind, I just couldn't back. I think the fresher horse here, Tamarak de Matan's the better out of three. Damn the Company as well. Just didn't look great at Cheltenham. I know it was over hurdles, but again, I'm just going for the fresher horse, and the horse I think is the best jumper out of the three.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think his even the form of his debut behind Shishkin is reading quite well now as well. He does tick a lot of boxes. Damn the Company, when I saw this race come up, but before the first entry stage, I was going, that'd be a great race for her. Given she had a novice chasing debut at Ayr, it won quite well. It's just been poorly campaigned since there for me. Went to the Scilly Isles, didn't work out, brought down, then reverting back to hurdles at Cheltenham seemed kind of a thankless task for her. She might bounce back in this, but there's just a bit of lost ground to recover. She does have the mayor's allowance at least, which will be a massive help, and she has a class act in her day, so she is dangerous, but I just think too many things in the season have kind of gone against her a little bit. Yeah, definitely. We'll move on to the big race, the Scottish Grand National. We'll just go through the market. I Right 5-1, Dingle Dollar 8-1, Sam's Adventure Soldiers of Love at 10, and Mighty Thunder 11s and 12-1 bar. It does look a great race in paper. I know there's a couple like Vintage Clouds is in there. Old Grangewood, Lakeview Lad, I think has a chance, but I don't have a massive opinion in the end. You fancy in here? Yeah, I really like Not a Chance for Alan King in this. Okay. I think, as you've kind of alluded to, there's a lot of exposed horses here that might have a high mark. Not a Chance. As in, Alan King targets this race. He's very good at Warwick. 139. Will beat the likes of Captain Chaos. Deirdre Vallis has won since. Red Infantry has won since. Storm Control has won since. Over 3 mile 5 at Warwick, and it's just a gutsy performance going round the bend. And he's an exciting 7-year-old coming forward. Godsway Judge won this as a 7-year-old. He's deliberately skipped Aintree to go for this because of experience purposes. 7-year-olds, and it's the way he just finds from the front that impresses me. He's brave enough for it. As long as the bigger field doesn't really put him off, I think he's got a chance. He can put a line through his Haydock run in heavy ground. That was just completely unsuitable for him. It's just to get a run in him, make sure he's okay. I think 14-1. I think he's a knocking each way bet here. He's one of the few horses in the field I think you could genuinely get excited about for the future. Yeah, I like it. King's a target trainer. He's a Scot as well. He prefers this race to Aintree most of the time. I think he does have a good chance. 146 is certainly not beyond him. That's for sure. Yeah, I would go with that. I don't have a strong opinion, so I think that could be the one I'm down on as well. But that was our look at the Scottish Grand National Festival. We are now at the stage where the flat season is upon us, and I like the flat season. I'm not as massive on it as I am the jumps, which again won't be a surprise, but we have picked 5 horses each to follow for this flat season. So Callum, take it away. What is your first flat horse for the season? Snow Lantern of Richard Hannon. She's a nice filly. Hope she'll go the Guineas route. By Frankel and by Sky Lantern, which is the mile pedigree that you dream of as a 3-year-old. She's just such a striking looker. form, Ascot Maiden win, she shaped quite well. A really warm Ascot race, actually. She looks exactly like Sky Lantern, and Sky Lantern's one of my favourite flat horses of all time. So I'm just falling for that, really, rather than anything else. But she's about 20-1, I think, for the Guineas. She would be of interest going forward.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm going to go for a horse for Aidan O'Brien called Willow, a 3-year-old. Looked really nice in October when he won well. When she won well, sorry. Out filly of American Pharoah, which again just screams to me, follow this horse, because American Pharoah was a superstar in America. I just a horse I liked in October when I saw her, and one to watch for me.
Yeah, another Aidan O'Brien horse, Bolshoi Bally.
Okay.
Second favourite for the Derby now, probably favourite for St Leger. She looks a really good classy stayer in the making this year. It's very good in the Ballysacks at Leopardstown the weekend. Won by 2 1/4 lengths, led narrowly, made all, and then just quickened away, galloped to the line, shaped as if it'd get better over further, and even just getting even better over time. And when a high class Aidan O'Brien 3-year-old is that far forward early on, in the season, is probably an ominous sign. He does look a class act. Already anti-post favourite for the Leger, although there's not a lot of markets kicking around for that, and second favourite for the Derby. So he's certainly one to follow. Yeah,
a horse I quite like was a horse we've seen, Ocean Wind. It was obviously over bumpers, didn't perform well in bumpers, back to flat. It's about maybe joint favourite for the Ebor. I think this horse could be really a really interesting horse to follow. I like horses coming back to the flat from going national hunt, which we'll lead on to in the next one. But Ocean Wind's one for me to follow.
Yeah, he was beaten by one of my one to follows in Sir Ron Priestley.
Okay, I had him written down actually. Yeah,
Mark Johnson's. He could be a future cup horse. He's also got one like Subjectivist as well. Stradivarius is a superstar, but is getting.
I know. Do you think he is? Do you think he's going to bounce back?
It's just age, isn't it? I mean, it's open to question that there might be a new Ascot Cup horse. It's Santiago for Ballydoyle as well as one that could fill that void or maybe force Stradivarius out of it. I quite like Sir Ron Priestley, who's second to Logician in the Leger a couple of years back. He's been off the track more or less since then, and he came back, thumped Ocean Wind in convincing fashion. That was just a starting point. He'll probably kick on and be in graded company next, and he showed he retained his potential, and that Leger is working out really well as a piece of form.
Yeah, definitely.
He's certainly one to follow.
Definitely. My horse is for Denise Foster. It is a horse that we know well, Zanahiyr.
Yeah.
I think it could be a smart stair over the flat. Obviously disappointed in the triumph, was a bit keen, but I think it could shape up well. And there's another horse I want to ask you about that could potentially be a flat horse. I don't know if you agree. Could your tip last year, Tax for Max, be one to follow if it goes back to the flat?
They might think that he's not tractable enough over a hurdle or an obstacle, so they might revert back there. I think you should consider gelding him first. Well settle. Zanahiyr could. He's got a mark that you could expose. The only one that I know that they've plans for is Jeff Kidder.
Okay.
He's off like something like 67 or something. No Mead's plan to keep him ticking over in big flat races in the summer, like places like Galway or something, for instance. So he'd certainly be one to follow, because he backed up his 80-1 Fred Winter winner by winning a Grade 2 last time over hurdles. So I certainly know that there's plans for him over flat. Yeah,
I just remember Zanahiyr. They were talking about Zanahiyr, obviously, when he was hot favourite for the Triumph. Says he's still got a really good flat mark. He could be it could be interesting if he goes here. Next one for you.
Yeah, the Dewhurst third last year, Thunder Moon.
That's the one I've got him as well. So what you got?
Joseph O'Brien, I think he's an obvious Guineas type as well. He didn't quite handle the track that well that day behind St Mark's Basilica and Wembley of Aidan O'Brien's.
That Dewhurst looks hot, doesn't it?
those are the three really.
Yeah, I've got Shindit as well for Richard Hannon. I thought could be one to take from that.
Yeah, potentially in the Greenham, I think. Later on this week. Yeah, there's a lot of talent ones. I think Thunder Moon is one not to give up on. He shaped quite well in third. He was beaten favourite that day, but I think better ground would see him to like as well, because he won his first two at the Kurgan good ground. It was a bit soft at Newmarket that day. I think he's more likely to appreciate spring ground, dry summer ground, rather than wet stuff in the autumn as a 2-year-old. So I think he's got scope to progress.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I've got exactly that written down. I think he could be around, maybe I could even go short, maybe between 6 furlongs and a mile. He looks if he's going to get that scope. I think this horse could be really good. My fifth and final horse is the hot favourite for the Derby. I just think this horse could be unbelievable. I know I kind of follow these horses. Whenever you look at the Derby now, you think, follow this horse. High definition for Aidan O'Brien. I just think he looks as if he shapes to be a star.
He does. He's not a big striking type. He got in a lot of trouble. Still wins really impressively. He just looks powerful. I mean, at his 2-year-old days, he looked like a 4-year-old. It was that kind of thing. You can see why he's clear Derby favourite at the moment. Interesting to see what to do with him first. I don't think he needs a lot of work. I think they'll probably just have one run and then go.
I think probably Dante will probably be.
It might be, yeah. They might keep him at home.
Yeah, possibly.
Who knows? He's got plenty of bullets to fire in these
races.
The Irish dominance doesn't stop at the jumps.
Nah, not at all. Maybe. Not at all. What's your final one?
It's Tiona of Roger Varian's.
Okay.
A nice filly that could be an Oaks contender. Won at Newcastle in November, 1-3. Didn't look a strong race, but it's incredibly impressive. Quickened really quickly. And Roger Varian and Stable Tours have absolutely waxing lyrical about this horse. She could be an Oaks contender down the season. She's about 16-20 to 1 at the moment.
Yeah.
But she's way more talented than what she showed at Newcastle. But even that race at Newcastle, which she won 1-3. It's been won by the likes of English King, who was going to be the Derby favourite. Last year that didn't quite transpire. Moonlight Spirits won it before. He's got a good horse, and it always goes to a classy horse. And I think she'd have no problem going from the all-weather to the turf as well. Roger Varian has some fantastic fillies. She's certainly one to definitely look out for if he's really happy with her work over the summer. Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to mention another one just to get my impression in, but I think Princess Zoe could be very good this year. Yeah, Princess Zoe. What do we think though? Because I know there was a lot of talk about last year. I don't think this came from Tony Mullins, but it was certainly coming from the punters that this could be a future hurdler. Do we see that journey for her? Does she still over the flat, do you think? I think she's just too valuable now to send hurdling. I think that's what Tony Mullins was indicating. She had a pipe opener at Cork and wasn't very good. I think 9th of 10th, 3-1. She'll be far better at home though in soft conditions over in France, and she could plunder plenty of these races again. Whether the arc is aiming a little bit too high later in the line, it might be. But yeah, she's already more than paid her way, I think. No, so, absolutely. Yeah. This season will just be quite similar to last, I'd imagine. What about Love as well? Love's a horse I really liked last year. What do we think about where that could go? Yeah, she was trained really nicely for the Arc last year, and then had to be pulled out because of the grounds. Then there was contaminated feed in the Ballydoyle camp before then. She has a plethora of options. She could go to the Newmarket Grade 2 in the Dahlia Stakes. She could go there. There's a race at the Curragh as well. There's a Group 3 there. There's a Moorsbridge as well. That's in the Monday after the British Guineas weekend. And then you Royal Ascot, stuff like that. Yeah. You can see in a Coronation Cup maybe over 1 mile 4 later down the line, and then probably to the Arc, something like that. but she really wants good ground. They won't be running on soft. It's not worth the risk. So again, if it turns up soft at Longchamp, which sometimes it usually is, then there'll be plenty of races in the Breeders' Cup, something like that. For her. It's a season that kind of marks if it's sale for fillies.
Yeah, another horse I want to touch on is Batash. What do you think of his campaign?
Yeah, all speed, all revolve around the King's Stand. I think he's had a couple of setbacks, and he'll be 7. So yeah, it's interesting to keep him in training, see what happens. If he does come back or not. He's only won enough races not to. That's for sure. So yeah, wait and see. We are in need of a top class sprinter, I think, to fill the void with him.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting to see where it comes from.
Yeah, definitely. That was our look at the flat. That's our preview of the flat season. We will be back and we'll be doing a preview in the next couple of weeks of the Punchestown Festival and the Guineas Festival. Thanks very much again, Calum, for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, yeah. Pleasure's always.
Right. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you soon. Cheers.